Welcome to episode 2 of my show previews and reviews. This episode, we're going to focus on a preview for tomorrow and Saturday's Stakes and Derby for the High Roller Reining Classic here in 2022. Going on right now in Las Vegas. They're running the fraternity as I'm recording this. Mostly, I just wanted to go over a few of my favorites. And when I say a few, I kind of wasn't able to limit it down. There's about 20 people I wanted to cover, some of them multiple horses. I'm going to just glance over people very quickly because of how many I have, and it's going to be going a long ways, so bear with me. And at the very end of the video, if you want to fast forward, I will give my official pick on who I think will win both the stakes and the Derby level 4s. So obviously the big news and the fun one to start off with is Casey Deary has 2 horses entered as of the time I looked at this. One's making a little trash. I don't remember that horse as well. I don't recall Casey showing it. I'm sure he has. It's not one that pops in my head. The big news for him is he's pulling out 1030 after the horse that won the fraternity last year. That horse stood at stud most of the year. He showed him at Arizona. Did not have the luck he had at the fraternity, but we've seen what that horse can do when he's on. And if he's that on, he's a threat to win the stakes for darn sure. Even a threat to win the Derby. He's talented enough to do both. My next person I would talk about is Sean Flaherty. Always a threat. Has both horses that he made the finals on at the fraternity last year, Alpha Jack Sparrow and Shiner on My Eye. And Shiner on My Eye is one of the ones he used at the qualifier in Arizona in March. He's had good luck on both of them. I believe one of those made the finals. I believe the Alpha Jack Sparrow horse made the finals at the Derby. So he's been having a good year. Those are both very nice horses, both very ready, and it will look really, really good. You can't have a list of favorites at any event, especially in the Western United States, without Craig Schmersel. Craig has, in the stakes, he has Some Stars Are Pale and Surprised You, two of the 3 that he made the finals on, and he also has a horse named Electrical Spook, who is actually cross-entered in the Derby and the stakes. Really good horse. And then in the Derby part alone, because he can't cross-enter them, they're too old, he has Setting Off to Town, and the horse that won the stakes last year, the 228 in the same arena, in Hey Roy, who is a phenomenally capable horse when he is right. When Hey Roy is good, he is great. He was that way with Franco, and he's been that way with Craig. Next, I'm going to kind of pull off the side, and somebody that some people will overlook and shouldn't, especially not this year, and that's Gabriel Borges. He has 2 in both, in the stakes and the Derby, and that is Silver Whiskey Shot and the big gun in town, who he just won the wildcard Derby, wildcard 4-year-old stakes on at Reining by the Bay last month, or 2 months ago. He also has Gonna Dream Big in the Derby. The horse that I think is the biggest shot to win anything is probably the big gun in town in the stakes, but everybody's coming with their A game. I'm not saying that he can't win it, because he darn sure could, but he'll be coming for it. I also have to mention, even though I don't know which horses he has in Vegas, Fernando Salgado's always got to be mentioned. I just don't know what horses he has there. I don't know who he pulled out. I don't know who he left home, so I can't give you a good analysis on it, but always count on Fernando to be somewhere near the top. Arno Homstetter has 2 horses that I saw entered in both. He has Zorro Gone Blonde, and he has McSpangled. Both those horses are pretty solid horses. Not at the top of my list this week with the list I'm putting together, but very, very good horses. And I've watched Arno take a horse that I didn't personally think could mark a 19 and go mark a 20. What did he mark on it last year? 27 on the horse he showed in the stakes last year. So Arno is always capable. Cade McCutcheon has Varsity Blue, Good Time to Trash You, and entered in both, and then has Custom Night entered in the stakes. The Custom Night horse, I believe, is the one. I know it's one he showed last year at the fraternity. Varsity Blue, I know he showed last year at the fraternity, but they're both horses that are experienced with Cade, and Cade is one of those guys. You put him in the pen, he's going to show hard. The only horse I saw entered for Jason is Excessive Roughness, who is, in a world of big stoppers, is a special stopper. That horse can make can make a run on just his stops. 4 stops, looking at likely, I mean, likely he's going to be a 73.5 on just his stops. If he can plus anything else, he's in the hunt there. Now, as we all know, this stakes and this Derby can get a little crazy in terms of big scores. It's an arena that produces a lot of big scores legitimately. From what I've seen this week, the judges are a little tight. They're making you earn what you get, but these are horses that can earn that. And I'd like to, and I'm expecting to see upper 20s be the scores for both the Derby and the stakes to win it. I mean, last year was a 28 to win the stakes and a 31 to win the Derby. Different judges, same arena, better ground this year. The next person I'll talk about is another $1 million rider, Martin Mielstetter. He has a Derby horse named Sassy Son of a Gun. I don't know much about it. It's not one that I'm super familiar with, and it's not one that just jumps off the page at me. However, his stakes horse that's cross-entered in both is CSG Chloe, a Colonel Shining Gun mare that I think has never quite unlocked her full potential. I've watched him school this horse. It looks really, really cool, and Martin can go turn it on. And if it works for him, it will be amazing. He is an elite showman. I mean, obviously these guys are all elite, but Martin is special even in that group. If it stays together when he goes hard, there's another one that could be right there in the mix for the 4-year-old stakes and even possibly the Derby. That Chloe mare is pretty cool. Trevor Dare is my next person I want to talk about. Trevor has 2 that he showed last year at the Futurity. One that has been just the solid citizen show horse, kind of the plain Jane horse, but he just goes out there and is good every time, and that's Old Time Rock and Roll. That horse has looked excellent almost every time. Well put together, good maneuvers, solid showmanship by Trevor. The other one that he's showing is Certified Freak. Certified Freak. That horse is every bit of his name. He can do some really cool stuff. At times as a 3-year-old, he had some bad luck in some of the pre-futurities. It's all up to Trevor then. If that thing holds together, it could be lethal. It's the one I think I always talk in terms of potential. I think Certified Freak has a higher ceiling. Old Time Rock and Roll has a higher floor. So Certified Freak could be anywhere from here to here, whereas Old Time Rock and Roll is going to kind of be right in this range all the time, and that's that 219 at the lowest to about a 224 if everything goes right, barring penalties and horse showing stuff, obviously. But that's kind of been that horse's MO, is just be solid, be really good, plus half everything, and go get yourself a paycheck. Certified Freak, on the other hand, will plus one something every once in a while and make you go, wow. After that, we'll talk about Jordan McBurney. She's showing the Inferno 66, surprising 66 that she's shown a little bit, had some good luck with. It's in the 4-year-old deal. It's also cross-entered in the Derby. I don't know if she has anything else. That's the only one I saw for sure that I recognize there, and that it had on the paperwork early because I got the entries early. I don't have the draws, and then but Jordan showed at the Million with the way she can show one and the way she's doing. She's a threat, big time threat. Can do any of this. Her husband Sean, on the other hand, is pulling out his Million horse. Trashy Little Lady was the only 4-year-old that showed at the Run for the Million. If you saw it, you know what to expect. It looked amazing. I saw it warm up the other day when I was down in Vegas. Still looks amazing. That's a special mare that he's done a great job with, and he's one that just off the back of momentum and everything, he could darn sure be there. It could be very interesting to see what Sean McBurney is going to pull together. Francesco Martinotti, another Run for the Million alum from this year, is not showing. I didn't see Smoking Trash on the list. I did see Magnum del Cielo, the one I think is his second best horse. So he's right there. He's got one that's a threat. That horse, I believe, is just a Derby horse. I don't believe it's in the stakes. So it's very much up in the air on that. But that's a really cool, really, really, really cool Magnum Rooster Cross horse. The next person to talk about is Cole Price. I know he's not having as strong of a year as he did last year with the Million, because obviously he didn't go, but he's got the one he made the NRBC finals on, finals bound here, and he's got a Spook Shining here. Those two horses both are really, really, really nice. The finals bound horse has the potential to be really, really great a lot of the time. And just horse show mistakes that happen, not even Cole's fault, just stuff, falling out of lead, stuff like that that's happened. I don't remember if it actually fell out of lead, but there's always been some little thing that keeps it from being in that conversation with the top of the pen. My next person to talk about is Dakin Allred. Dakin is showing the horse he was fourth on at the Futurity last year, Ice Face. He was one big turn penalty or mistake on that one right-hand turn away from possibly being the dark horse that screwed up all the predictions in the Futurity last year. Has a hand. Always has been. He's been a hand since he worked for Avila. He was a hand when he worked out of Storybrooke. He is a very talented guy. It seems like his mindset's a little better now, and he is looking really good, and he's got the horse to show it off on. That's one to really watch out for in the 4-year-old stakes. He is pretty darn good horse. After that, just for fun, last year's Futurity Reserve champion, Mr. Fahrenheit. Although he's not with Andrea this time, he's back with Ruben, who is half owner on him. Mr. Fahrenheit won Denver last year with a 228 and a snaffle bit. He tied to win Scottsdale in the pre-Futurity in October. He was tied for second at the Futurity with Andrea. I know he placed along this year a little bit, and I'm sure he's won one of the local derbies out there in the Oklahoma, Texas area. I don't know his record this year. Haven't been paying as much attention. Special horse. People are going to pay attention, and I'll bet you it gets loud. That's one that a lot of neutrals will cheer for because everybody loves Ruben. He's a talent, and he's on a really talented horse. Next, I want to talk about Dwayne Latimer. Dwayne has Ziggy Rocks and Gun and Attitude. The Ziggy Rocks horse is the one owned by Roxanne Copsel. It's been a really, really nice horse for him. I believe he made the finals. I can't remember if it was the Derby or the NRBC, but I know he's done well on that horse somewhere. And it's typical Dwayne. It's going to come in. It's going to look great. It's whether or not he gets that big dynamic that some of the other guys get. And I think that about the other horse too, the one that Schumacher's own. My last three to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about Jesse Beckley. Jesse Beckley has a gun of trash named Trash in Your Dreams that he made the finals on at the Futurity last year in the level 4. It's a really nice horse. It's something that could be very, very special for him. And I think that's another one that could be a dark horse. And I believe Jesse's level 3 again. Level 3 also. So possibly winning the level 3 in the stakes and the Derby. But more importantly, he's got a shot to win it on that one. My second to last person to talk about is Jared Leclerc. And I know a lot of people kind of overlook Jared because he does a lot of non-pro coaching, and he always has good horses, but he's kind of that lower end of the level 4, higher end of the level 3 is where a lot of people view him. Ever since he bought this Macon Diamond horse for a customer, this thing has been, it looked really, really good in Florida. Marked 230. And if you ever mark a 30, you're on the favorite list. I don't care if you did it last week or 2 months ago or 3 years ago. If a horse is capable of marking a 30, it needs to be talked about as a threat to win any event that it enters. Jared's on this list for that horse, that reason. We've seen him do it. We've seen the horse do it. I'd like to see if he can do it again. And especially here in Vegas, where it's the last really big money derby of the year. Why not? Let's hope it works out for him. And of course, everybody will notice that the last person I have not talked about is the number 1 rider in NRHA, Andrea Fapani. He's got 6. He's got 3 in the stakes, 3 in the Derby. That's why I put him last, is because I wanted to talk about the 2 events separate, because everybody else is kind of cross-entering. For the stakes for tomorrow, he has No Photos, who was a finalist at the Futurity and co-champion in Arizona at the pre-Futurity. I do not know what he's done this year. I've not paid close enough attention to that horse. He has Exo Chick, who literally just won Tulsa in the Derby. He's showing that one in the 4-year-old stakes as well. That is a royally bred horse. It's a smart chick out of Ebony Shines that is owned by Rabani and Archesi. And he said openly that he had a lead change issue on that thing as a 3-year-old and never quite got it solid. It looks pretty solid now. He's shown it a few times this year. It's looked good every time. I haven't seen it have any issues in the lead change since. I probably just cursed him. Hopefully I didn't. And his last stakes horse is Reining Inferno, and that would be one of my picks to win the stakes. He's kind of made a habit of being second at all of the biggest horse shows. He was second at the Futurity. He was second in the Invitational. But he won High Roller as a 3-year-old last year. So the only time he's ever shown in this arena, he won the class. Different story with the Futurity versus the stakes, but it's a good, solid horse to go to this with. Big stopper, big turner, does everything really good. It's typical Andrea horse is what I'm saying. Andrea's Derby horses are Whizzical, who has won a ton in this arena. I believe he won the Derby here, or the stakes here as a 4-year-old, and he's an older horse now. Still really good horse. This is kind of the place where Andrea always brings him out, and he always looks good in this arena. Starjack Vintage for Teton. Everybody knows Starjack, the full brother to Platinum. He's won, if he hasn't won over 200, he's closing in on it now. He's won a ton of money. That's a good horse. Excited to see how that one looks. And then my personal favorite horse in the country is getting shown here. All bets are off. The 2020 Futurity champion. He showed one time as a 4-year-old and had horrible luck because he fell down at Reining by the Bay. And then Andrea is open about the story. He got hurt at the beginning of this year and was out for a couple months, and then they legged him up. He showed him one time at Reining by the Bay, marked 231 on him, just cruising. Went to Vegas, marked 227.5, just cruising. I'm curious to see if he actually opens him up here, because if it holds together, if he's marking that cruising, what's he going to do if he opens him up and it holds together? That's the key. We have not seen that horse show full out since the Futurity. And even then, I don't know if that was full out. But the horse is a winner. The horse is a talent. He's royally bred, so he should be. But it is. So if I'm going to go in and put my neck on the line, and I want everybody in the comments to give me their predictions, give me one or two of each of these. Stakes predictions, Derby predictions of your favorites, and then the same thing with dark horses of people who you wouldn't think, even if there's somebody I didn't mention. My pick for the stakes is going to be Andrea on Reining Inferno. I just think that horse needs to go win a major event, and this will be his first big win other than as an older horse, as a 4-year-old. In the Derby is a hard one to pick because there's so many good horses, and there's so many I didn't talk about that are good horses. I would probably go with... Oh, that's a hard one. The Derbies, I'm less sure of. I'm going to go with Craig. And I don't know which horse. I'm leaning towards Setting Off to Town just because I think it's going to finally have something win. I think he's going to go be like a 26, and a few people are going to make mistakes. It's just some gut feeling I have. That would be those are my picks for who is going to win it among the favorites. My dark horse, honestly, for both, is Dakin Allred and Iceface. I think he's got what it takes to win this thing. And I think it'd be good for his career, and I think he's got the horse to do it. So with that, that's where I'm going to go. And it's not just these guys. There's a bunch of other people I didn't mention because this video is already running at 19-20 minutes. So thank you for watching. Share this video around. Like it. Go to the YouTube page. Like it. Share it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. There will be semi-regular uploads on previews, reviews, and maybe even some other discussion pieces when show season slows down over the winter. So all in all, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on the next episode.